Lastly, I've been working with the Community Engagement Board. We're in the last steps. I sent the email to you, Attorney Griffin.
I saw it.
Okay.
I haven't reviewed it, but I saw it.
Okay, great. So yeah, so we should be moving the Community Engagement Board forward very soon. So we'll make sure we get the information out to y'all as quickly as possible, just so we can find ways to engage y'all better, and so that we can have as much input from citizens as possible. And with that, I appreciate the time to serve y'all as City Councilman.
Thank you, sir. I want to announce the National Night Out is October 1st. National event the city's been participating in for several years. Ms. Veronica Hargis has just done an incredible job of helping to organize several of our communities. So we want to publicly thank her for that effort and encourage all of you, if it's not one in your particular neighborhood, join us in one of the others. We'll be getting that list out, and we'll make sure everyone's aware of it. Mr. Luther Francis, our 96-year-old resident, is in extremely good shape. I know that because I had to take him to the doctor's appointment twice. But his health is good, and we're working on the other little things. But again, his doctor said his overall numbers came back better than his and mine. So at 96 years old, whatever he's doing is working. He attended the Economic Development Corporation meeting, the tax rate, and budget public hearings. And again, my condolences. I attended the Marshall and Lois Brown's funeral of the daughter Mia, and that was the turnout. The Prairie View, city of Prairie View love was just, the church didn't have standing room. It was just every space they lined chairs. It was just a beautiful homegoing celebration for some of the, relatives of very long time involved folks. You've heard me mention the James Muse Parkway, $1.4 million Economic Development Administration grant. We had a contractors meeting with myself, the project manager, and the former city engineer, and that should be going out for bid in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're really down to finally getting that thing out of there, waiting on the Corps of Engineers letter and minor things like that, but they're forthcoming. AT&T is getting out of the copper business. Had a couple of meetings with them. In addition to adding the 5G, they are looking to really transform over our city with fiber optic cable. So we're working to see how and when they're going to do that, but that's something that they're working on. So you may have seen them taking the cable from one side of University Drive to the other just before you get to 290 from here. That was AT&T on both sides, was one of their contractors. The Prairie View Volunteer Fire Department, we've got an upcoming meeting. They're working on a new fire station with the land somewhat adjacent to where they are now. And we're excited about what the Emergency Services District is going to do and finally helping to change that situation here. Met with the principals with the FlowChem. They're doing an expansion that's 1.1 times their current size, and instead of going south, they agreed to come east, so all of the entire expansion will benefit from the improved tax dollars, because they'll be improving the land just west of them, which will all be inclusive in the city of Prairie View. The Board of Adjustments meeting, we're here September 25th at 3 p.m. and that, for those of you who may not know, has been what has been the holdup on the Shell Checkers restaurant. So we're supposed to have that meeting here and trying to see what we can do to help that project move forward. The abandoned, dilapidated, nuisance, hazard properties. A couple of Saturdays ago, attended a Texas Municipal League training and got some information and shared with our city attorneys, and the TML attorney was kind enough to send me his presentation, so we'll be looking to try to take care of some of the things that many of us want to go away and make better. And continuing the open door policy, meeting with not just residents, but all the folks who tend to come in and just stopping whatever it is I'm doing to try to give people, time to voice their concern or see what they need or see what they might be able to do to help the city. So with that, I'll end my report. Item 7, discuss and take action on ordinance 2019-0923-001, amending the Prairie View Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1, Article 1.500, City Council Rules of Procedure, providing for a Finance Committee. Councilman Jones. And I'll yield that to
Alright, so from my understanding, looking at both ordinances, they both provided, my question would be, that the committee would be a committee that consists of the council, and that one of the, I guess, council members, includes the mayor of pro temp rather than the mayor, because the mayor presiding over the committee. We want the council to be able to talk, we want the council to be able to lead the direction of that conversation rather than the mayor, like when we,
Right, so that's not that section.
okay,
Um,
so what section?
The section you're looking at is the committee of the whole,
Okay,
and
so
the
I
only
fixed
reason
that.
that's in there is to delete the fact that that's the only standing committee of council. That's just deleting that sentence. So the finance committee itself is 3 council members as appointed by the mayor and approved by the city council, and then 2 ex officio members consisting of appropriate city staff or consultants as appointed by the mayor and approved by city council. So the mayor's not on the finance committee.
I have a question.
Councilman.
Could we, in this document, could we put, are we able to add a time frame? So once council have called for the committee, to be, formed, that we have so many days until the mayor brings those names forward? Can we put a time, like, once the city council have called for the committee to be formed, 30 days or 60 days, or can we add that in there?
I don't think so, because you can't
But-
put something in here that's in violation of the charter.
It's not in-
The charter doesn't give the mayor a certain amount of days. We both have projects, you form it and I appoint it.
So the reason why I'm asking is to, again, it doesn't restrict the mayor's power. It just says the mayor can't prolong appointing the committee. And we're saying, once city council have called for the committee to be approved, move forward, the mayor have so much time, once we make the call, to assemble his names. And so, it's not like he's going out to find people, it's 3 of the people, the 5 people who serve up here. And so,
So I need to look that up in your charter, because it definitely states that the mayor, the city council creates the commission, and the mayor appoints the commission with the approval of the city council. And whether procedurally it has any restrictions on that or not, let me just look it up while you continue to discuss.
Yeah, so we could basically put it on the agenda and then have conversation and discussion with the mayor accepting our appointments, right?
Yeah, or I could look it up while you continue talking.
I mean,
See how long it
I
takes
have
me.
much to say about it.
You can do it however you want.
Ms. Williams wanted me to talk about why I think a finance committee is created, because when we go to conferences and things of that such, that's one of the things that I picked up at the Young Elected Officials Conference, that a lot of them already have a finance committee, so when it comes around to budget time and looking at to do things and having assets for the city, you come up with a game plan as a council with the direction of our treasurer and JJ to see where we are, what we need to make room for improvement of the following year. It's like we all talking, and it's a checks and balance as well, so that way a year go by, we don't know why we spent money in this category. It's us being accountable and us working together for setting ourselves up moving forward.
Well, keep in mind, from a councilmatic standpoint, Mr. Johnson gives us that information, monthly and on an ongoing, every so many months accumulation. So the entire council is receiving that specific money on what's being spent and brought in, literally on a monthly basis. It's usually like I'm going behind just to put it all together, but
But also
I'm just saying.
the way that we've been doing it is JJ gives us a report, and now we haven't had a discussion to go into the report page by page. So it's at least 3 council members to be knowing what's going on with the city finances, rather than us not know.
Yeah, that's good.
I had asked to address that particular item 79 on my call.
Okay, yep, come on up.
Do I have to
Well, I mean, if you wanna stand, you know, how you gonna do it?
call? Okay, what I wanted to ask about that, I'm glad you brought up the point about, adding to there if the mayor doesn't put the appointments on in a certain given amount of time. Because if he doesn't, then what?
The charter states that city council can direct whoever to so the mayor can either, if he's incapacitated, if he fails to, or if he does straight up does not want to do something, and our charter gives.
But the charter doesn't say if he fails to, it says if he's incapacitated or unable to.
No, it says if he fails to.
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
What I'm saying, if he doesn't do that within within a 30-day period, then what happens? That's what I'm.
Right, if he doesn't, then city council has, so all we're trying to do is to say, Mr. Mayor, the finance committee should be adopted. The mayor then has 30, he can take a week, or he can take up to, whether it be 30 days. And then he should be bringing forth names forward for us to approve. That's what
Okay,
we're
now,
saying.
I understand what you're saying about the process, but what I'm asking you is, okay, let's say you adopted it where after 30 days, he doesn't do that, then what? What does it revert to?
We have a process in our charter
And
that
that's my
speaks to
question.
that. A process in our charter speaks to that.
Pulling it up
Yeah,
right
Councilman
now.
Williams?
Okay, so I understand what you said about this finance committee, but is this finance committee being created because it's something of a benefit, or is this finance committee being created because it's a form of control?
For me, it's a sense of benefit. Like I said, I mean, we necessarily don't have control. We throughout that committee, we just informed or brought up to date. And we also could add the knowledge of what we think, like, hey, the mayor should possibly, so say we spend, right now, the mayor has $2,000 in parks. So say we discuss a park plan, and the park plan costs more. Well, we can get this plan to our city treasurer and talk about how we can move from one line item to another that could possibly help the direction in which the city is going with all this checks and balances. We look, we keep up with it. We all informed rather than just a lack of knowledge. I think we all informed. And it's not, I didn't bring this back as to check the mayor. I brought it back as it was something that we didn't need, that I feel like could be beneficial to our city with our budget.
My just take on the finance committee, it's just an opportunity for us to be able to communicate what's going on. There's a lot of long-term, I think Dr. Brown spoke of it, the mayor spoke of it. The CIP or Community Strategic Plan that was done 10 years ago was done intentionally. And because if we have so many things going on, there's no one, so the goal with the finance committee is allows us to think of long-term projects to then strategize or to help try to figure out how we're gonna finance those things from city council's perspective that we just passed the budget to, and to have conversations with the staff to be able to make sure that we're moving in that direction to be able to finance, for example, what we just talked about with the university. So again, that's why I think the finance.
So
Hold up. The finance committee, you asked earlier about the treasurer's job description, Councilman Rowland.
Yeah.
This is the first time, and I had this discussion with the city attorney. This is the first time council is forming a committee, and we're having to have this discussion because council didn't do its due diligence on what you want the committee to do. We've got individuals asking, we've got councilmen, y'all asking, you're saying your take on it, Councilman Jones shared his take on it. We should have a definition of what it is, and as I said in bringing it up, I removed my objection to it, but when you look to do something, if it's not set and it's not clear, you're forming a committee with no specific purpose. what you're saying should be in writing, and then we can follow it, but, from a budget standpoint, if you want Mr. Johnson to give you something he's not giving you now, we covered that a little earlier. But all I'm saying is, form the committee, but when it comes to the committee's tasks, they are very vague because you haven't written anything down. I'm just letting you know.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, a couple weeks
Yes, sir.
ago, we didn't have I'm sorry, Councilman Wallace, what committee that we have passed that to you, where you gave the presentation?
The community engagement board?
All right, so we approved to have a community engagement board. We didn't come up with what the community engagement board task would do, how each role would be ironed out, none of that. And then Councilman Wallace did his due diligence after we passed it to bring us back a presentation to show us how this would look. Well, I went, got trained and seen the finance committee. Now we asking for you to approve it. Once you approve it, we'll show that, hey, this is how our finance committee works. So actually, I think, thank you, JJ, for coming up with the strategic plan, because I know since I became a council member, I know Councilmember Randall has been asking for a long time for a strategic plan for us to figure out how we would come out of debt with the university. Well, maybe if we had a financial committee, that would have already been discussed and talked about rather than waiting so long up to this point. But Attorney Sarah, was there, did you find the additional information?
I did, I found the answer to both of those questions.
Okay.
Okay, so the city council may create boards, commissions, or committees. The members of any such boards, commissions, or committees shall be appointed by the council upon the recommendation of the mayor. So, recommendation. The second question was whether or not if he fails to do so, what happens? So if he fails to do so, under section 3, under the mayor, let me get there, sorry. In the event of the absence, refusal to act, etc., the remaining members of the council shall by election designate one of their members as acting mayor, and he or she shall, and moving on, have the power to perform every act except the power to remove or suspend officers or employees. So it would be up to the discretion of the council to determine whether or not he has refused to act.
That's the ability not to function.
No, that's on the, it's on the issue.
What, within what time frame? Not acting within what time
The
frame?
timeframe
I
that
haven't
we
heard that.
approved, the timeframe that we.
Councilman, I'm asking
I'm trying
a
to help
question.
you.
You can't help me. You don't know. You've been here 10 years, and we're still doing this stuff. Yes, ma'am. Within what time frame not acting? Because I need to know.
I actually had already answered it.
What?
I said it's at the determination of the city council as to whether or not you have refused to act.
Okay. So what time frame does council want these names?
I put the number out to have a conversation, not to be contentious,
But
but
Mr.
you made it contentious.
I don't think we need to put a number out. I think that you would do a diligent job.
No, we can put,
No, listen, Brian, we don't need to put a number out in the ordinance. All we need to do is, no, we don't, Brian, because when the next mayor comes aboard, our financial committee will change.
Y'all right gonna delete it.
all it says is 30 days, it's not a number. It's just saying that the mayor
Brian,
has
our
30
ordinances
days.
always will forever be evolving. So if we don't have to put a number there today. We can approve this financial committee. We can put on the next city council agenda, if the mayor doesn't come back within a month to say, hey, mayor, you have 30 days to bring us back the financial committee. If he doesn't bring us back with a financial committee within the 30 days, then guess what happened? Whoever is the mayor pro temp at the time, we asked, could you do the
Guys,
duties in which the mayor failed
I
to
can
do?
give you the names now. Y'all just need to say what they're supposed to do.
Okay.
That's all I ask.
Mr. Mayor, I move that
Yes.
we approve, item agenda number 7.
It's been properly moved and seconded that item number 7 be approved. You've heard the motion, ready for the vote? Okay, Councilman Randall.
Item number 7 is like ordinance, the ordinance needs to be read for the record. So we need to actually.
And that's 219-0923-001.
Yes, sir.
Okay, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Prairie View, Texas, amending the city's code of ordinances, Chapter 1, Article 1.500, City Council Rules of Procedure, providing for a finance committee, providing for a savings clause, providing for severability, and providing for findings regarding compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Whereas the City Council of the City of Prairie View, Texas desires to create a standing finance committee. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prairie View, Texas, Section 1, the city's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1.500, City Council Rules of Procedure is hereby amended and renumbered as follows, with each cross-out being a deletion and each underline being an addition to the code. Article 1.500, City Council Rules of Procedure.
I'm just referring to the ordinance
Just
number.
want to read that?
No, you don't have to read the
The-
title.
You just want the
I'm
title?
just saying the ordinance number and
Okay.
the actual agenda item, not number 7, that's what I'm saying, I wasn't saying the whole ordinance.
Well, the public doesn't know and the record doesn't know, so, but that's fine. Motion on the floor, right? Okay, all those in favor? Go ahead.
My understanding this was the difference between this being broken out versus what's on agenda item number 8.
There is no textual difference between the two. The mayor had asked that the issues be separated. And so in the second one, if you approved the first one, it just includes it for the renumbering purposes with the new language.
So, but it'll come back into the other one?
It is included in the other one, yes.
Call for the question.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right?
Opposed?
Okay, let the record show four in favor, one opposed, Councilman Williams. Item 8, discuss and take action on ordinance 2019-0923-002, amending the Prairie View Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1, Article 1.500, City Council Rules of Procedure regarding departmental reports, public comments, Finance Committee, and general changes to council procedures. City Attorney, Councilman Jones, and we have a resident that asked to speak on this. Ms. Brown.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you're supposed to go before it comes up.
Okay, I had a issue and a question, and if you don't wanna answer the question, I just want it in writing so I can pick it up. But I was looking at the Texas Peace Officers Pocket Guide to Texas Statutes, code number 42.05, that's on the wall over there. And it says a person commits an offense if, with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting, procession, or gathering, he obstructs or interferes with the meeting, procession, or gathering by physical action or verbal utterance. My question is, does this particular statute apply to people up here who are disrupting meetings?
Okay, go ahead. I mean,
That was my
done?
question.
Okay.
I mean, if you can answer it now, that's fine. If not, I want it in writing.
Okay, Counselor, now or in writing, or how does that work?
That works, that I work for the city council.
Okay, so she needs
And
to
if
have a
the-
city councilman channel that through you.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you'll do that, Ms. Brown, we'll get you that answer.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just give something in writing to one of the councilmen, or what?
Yes. Councilman Jones.
Thank you for the ordinance, Attorney Sarah, and with the additional, but I would like to add, city grant administrator to the department reports and policy. With,
Is that under administrative maybe, or?
that would be,
Yeah, it'd be under administrative, but another Roman numeral, probably.
Okay, so yeah, just maybe a 7, V11, VII,
yes, ma'am.
And then,
I'm sorry, grants administration, or?
City grant administrator.
Do we have a person you all have in mind? Because
So, that's from, who's our grant writer?
we don't have a grant writer.
yeah, we could have several people.
No, as we have a project, someone comes and we vote to use that person, so we don't have a grant writer there on the project. That's a little different, they don't work for the city.
So he's wanting an updated so it could be the person or it could be the mayor. He's wanting a report
No.
from the grant. Go ahead.
So Ms. Bynum, when I sent the email a couple, weeks ago, and I asked about, grant writing, you gave me Mr. Mr. Houston? Is that his last name?
Yeah, he's an
Project
outside
manager, Nick
consultant.
Houston.
Okay, so Nick Houston. So he's not
Just
already.
come back, item 9.
No, they're working on a specific project for us, and it comes and goes with that project.
And so we, alright, so this is even better, so we don't necessarily have a plan put in place to say every cycle of the year, just the kind of grants that we wanna go after.
No, the city hasn't had that in my 3 years in here, and prior to.
It doesn't happen. But what you put
Alright,
in,
so could we add this position, then I guess, it's okay for me to add something now, and then we discuss it before, further plan later, right? Because all we ask for.
Right, so for reports, do you wanna just put grant administration,
Yes.
keeping in mind that these are the general categories? When they actually get placed on the agenda for discussion, it would need to be more specific. So for example, we could have that as the larger category,
Yes, ma'am.
and then you could say, could we get a report on the EDA grant status from Mr. Houston?
Okay,
So
yes,
grant administration?
yes, ma'am. Alright, so, I move that we approve item agenda number 8 with the, additional
Gotta read the
change.
whole-
What, do I have to read or do they have to?
You
Okay,
read
so
it.
I move, that we approve ordinance 2019-0923-002 with the necessary, with the additional changes. Chapter 1, Article 1.500, City Council Rules of Procedures regarding departmental reports, public comments, Finance Committee, and general changes to council procedures.
Is this what you were reading?
No,
Just read that.
Oh, okay. It's been, do I have a second? Okay. It's been properly moved and seconded that ordinance number 2019-0923-002, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Fairview, Texas, amending the city's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1, Article 1.500, City Council Rules of Procedure, providing for the repeal of regulations inconsistent with the city charter, providing for how departmental reports shall be placed on the agenda, providing for an updated public comment procedure, providing for a finance committee, providing generally for renumbering, providing for a savings clause, providing for severability, and providing for findings regarding compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions? Councilman Rowland?
quick question on number, section 1.12 on page 10. It was struck out about the time. Is there a reason? And I know we had to, did we already approve this in another, and then this is gonna be replaced, or? And this was about the manner of addressing council.
Page 10,
Let me see.
right?
Yeah, so is this where we would have put the 3 minutes and that, or is that?
Okay, so what was changed here from the last meeting is that they have 3 minutes at the beginning and then a total of 3 minutes for agenda items. Because last time I had it 3 minutes per agenda item, and you said no. So this is now 3 minutes for non-agenda, 3 minutes for agenda,
Total.
total.
Thank you.
Call for the question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do we need a voice vote? Oh, no, okay. Item 9, discuss and take action on the planning and zoning fee schedule ordinance 2019-0923-003. City Attorney.
Okay, so this comes out of a recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting from their July meeting, actually. Took us a while to get it together. There were a couple of hitches, but we finally got it together and approved as to their intent, and this is before you with their recommendation.
So, yeah, I mean, these are additional So this is there an application? So again, I know this is just trying to streamline our process.
Currently, they have no fees to turn in applications at all, like other
Right now,
cities do.
correct, I know that.
Yeah,
Do we
so-
have an application that should have been connected to this? And second, they talk about the development officer and/or the zoning officer. Could I get some more clarification in reference?
Those are both the mayor at this time, under your
I
ordinances.
thought we identified that those were different persons we brought in Bureau Veritas.
Well, there are things that Bureau Veritas doesn't do. If you look at our ordinances as well as our city charter, the numerous things done by a particular category, yeah, Bureau Veritas doesn't do all of that. Like enforcing ordinances, for example, is a part of it, they don't get involved in that.
So my second, two questions. One, I'm assuming you drafted, so or is someone here representing the organization? Are the fees that, are notated on here, are they reasonable with other communities' fees?
Mr. Anderson, feel free to,
Yeah,
chime
Yes,
in,
they
we'll
are.
let you cover that, because you were very involved
what
in that
happened, we looked
process.
at those same type fees,
Uh-huh.
the plot for Wall, Tomball, Brookshire, and Hempstead.
What are those cities?
Waller, Tomball,
Wall.
Brookshire, and Hempstead.
Thank you.
And the most attractive one, related town population, was a little less than Wall, a little bit more expensive than Hempstead, and Brookshire was a little bit high.
So
Put it
where are
that
we at with those? Are we at the top, the middle, or the bottom?
You're at about the middle, Tomball, similar to Tomball.
Okay. And then, the application is something that'll come at a different time?
We received the applications through, front office, City Hall.
No, like.
So the applications are already required under your code. I haven't seen how they look in paper or anything, but those are things that are already required under your code.
Mr. Mayor, do we have a specific application for that?
Yes, we do. We've always had one, it just never had any fees attached, so now planning and zoning has brought that information forward.
So there'll be an updated application for you,
Yes. Yeah, once this passes.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Randall?
That's all I want to say. I move that we accept the planning and zoning fee schedule ordinance 2019-0923-003.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council accept planning and zoning fee schedule ordinance 2019-0923-003, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Prairie View, Texas, creating a fee schedule to be utilized pursuant to Chapter 10 Subdivision Regulation, Article 3 Administration, Section 3.16, quote-unquote fees, and Chapter 14 Zoning, Article 2 Administration, Section 2.1, quote-unquote fees of the codified ordinances of the City of Prairie View, Texas, providing for savings and providing for severability. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions? All those in favor say aye. Oh, got it ready.
If in here, would this be, is that a procedural thing in reference to, so we have on what we just approved about the report? If we put in the ordinance of this, is that, that's a